Okay. So you have your viewer appreciation
prize.
Tonight
Is grips.
Yeah.
Grips. And anything else tonight?
I'm going to be doing, I'll be giving away something from Amsoil
Okay.
for the
Where's Susie's hats? You know any out here?
Susie's hat.
My hats that I make. You have any out
No,
here?
why don't you get one?
No, it's too late.
It's not too late. It's never too late. Want me to run in and get it right now?
No. You have a picture of it.
I do have a picture of it.
It's fine.
Okay. It is 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Don't forget to breathe.
Don't forget to breathe, Joe.
I'm Gary Semix, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abbate.
You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and I am Joe Abbate. Thank you for joining me tonight. We've got a special show lined up for you. We've got some prizes as usual. We will have Terry Good in here whenever he decides to get here. It should begin about 15 or 20 minutes. We'll talk more about the upcoming event for the International Motocross Museum. I am so pleased and thrilled to have one and only Sue Abbate with me tonight. Susie, how's everything going? Going good, huh?
Yeah,
All right. We have a viewer appreciation prize this week.
we do. It's grips, courtesy of PrestonPettyProducts.com or
PrestonPettyProducts.com.
Yes.
Listen carefully. Show me your grips. Grips. Show me your grips. There you go. Thank you very much. Susie, we will be giving away her grips a little bit later on in the show. In the meantime, I want to thank our sponsors who help make the show possible every week. Motion Pro, Vintco, Preston Petty Products, ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com, Racer X, the International Motocross Museum, Full Circle Racing, of course, my dear friend Mike Chamberlain, and George Ackerman from the Moto Barn, who has an event coming up. George, if you are watching, I want you to type in when the date of your event is. I know it's at the end of October. I looked on your page. I didn't see a flyer that had the date. FastGuyStuff.com and Durfs, big supporters of Vintage Motocross Q&A, sharing the show and buying shirts from us as well. Russell Waters and Amsoil. Always something great happening at Amsoil. I got another box today from Russell Waters, and it had some really cool stuff in it, including koozies. And you know what else it had in it? Look, it had this in it. You know what this is? A periscope with a light on the end of it. Not exactly what, well, you know, you're looking down there inside your engine or you're doing something like that. We're going to be giving away one of these a little bit later on. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you are on YouTube. Russell also has a special. Now, this is very interesting. You also have to listen very closely. You are going to get a shirt from me, a Vintage Motocross Q&A shirt, just like this, okay? It's in black, white, or gray. It's going to be in short sleeve. You are also going to get 4 products from Amsoil. You're going to get some dirt bike gear oil. You're going to get Dominator Premix. You're also going to get Octane Booster, as well as some oil for your pneumatic tools. Russell will also include some stickers. $49.95. This is a $70 value. You will then be a supporter of Vintage Motocross Q&A. You will also get, check this out. Here's what you're going to get. You're going to get 4 things of different types of oil from Amsoil. You're going to get a shirt from me. You're going to get your name on the board behind me, like you see everybody else back there. And get this, you're going to get 25% off as a preferred customer across the board on Amsoil stuff for the next 6 months. You can't beat that with a stick. I am going to tell you when and what to type in sometime during the show. It'll say something about Amsoil. I'll tell you what to type in. You're going to type it in. But remember, when you type it in, you have committed to buying $50 worth of stuff like t-shirts and the AMSOIL that you're going to get anyway. Okay. Don't forget our PayPal link is up. You can donate to the page anytime you like. Don't forget to keep sharing the show. And we've got the grips coming up, as well as my dear friend Ben and his Vintage Mini Bike podcast. The next episode is October 13th. There's still another one up there on the board right now. And you could watch every one of them over at Ben's Vintage Mini Bike podcast. George Ackerman, as I mentioned just a moment ago, you've got this amazing museum down there in Ruther Glen, Virginia. You've got the mini bike section of this now. It's a whole new section altogether. And people want to know, what is the date, George? What is the date people need to be down there in Ruther Glen to be joining the Moto Barn event? I think you have Barry Higgins coming this year. Last year you had Steve Wise. You had, who else? The professor. You had Gary Bailey. You had me there, if that counts for anything. But anyway, there's a whole lot going on there in Ruther Glen, Virginia. What's that, Susie?
I said I don't see him on.
George isn't on tonight?
Not yet.
All right. Well, here's what we're going to do.
So, what's his name? Alan Huey said October 19th.
October 19th? Okay, so it is October 19th. That is the date of the Moto Barn event. Right now, in our Next Time Try This segment, which is brought to you by Vinco, got a great little video that was put together by Roy Vanderveer. Let's get a look at it, and then we'll be back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A.
To talk to you about the hose clamps that clamp the front and back of the carburetor in your classic or vintage motocross bike, or even your modern bike, depending on what year it is. So it's real common for stuff to come into my shop with unacceptable clamps holding things together. This bike that I have in front of us today is an 88 YZ250. The bike's been extensively modified, and of all horrors, it came in with a zip tie on the air boot side of the carburetor. So we know zip ties, that's not going to be good enough for what we need there. The problem that the owner brought to me was that the original clamp was discontinued, which is true. So something you can use, because while bikes have changed much over the decades, some of the parts are pretty much still the same. So the clamp that I sourced for this is off of a 2024 YZ250. So it fits perfect, and it's even an upgrade part that features an Allen socket bolt instead of a Phillips heads, which always just strip out so easily. Then on the front of the carburetor, it had this clamp right here, which is a fine looking hose clamp. But the problem is it's a hose clamp. It's not an intake manifold clamp. And the things that would separate that are, first thing is the edges have to be rolled up. If you put a hose clamp like this one or this one, the sharp edge on the end of this clamp can very easily cut into the air boot. And of course, that makes an air leak, wrecks your air boot, and wrecks your day. So an OEM clamp like this one is acceptable to use. Normally when you get a bike, by the time you get it, the hardware is all stripped out. This one happens to be good. But the clamps that I really like to use on these are called Zebra clamps, and they're from a company called Worth. And they're stainless steel. They have the rolled edge. They're the correct width, so they fit in the groove on the intake manifold just like they're supposed to. And there's no chance of this clamp damaging the intake manifold. Another problem with this style clamp is the open slots tend to deform the manifold. And with the Zebra clamp, they're not open, they're pressed in. And they're also pressed in at an angle which helps keep everything pulled straight. Goes either Phillips head or flathead, or I think that's a 7mm socket. So we want to make sure that we've got good quality stuff holding the front and the back of the carburetor in. If you choose to use Worth clamps as I do, they're available only through authorized Worth dealers. They're kind of a pain in the butt to get a hold of. They come in a box of 25. The primary clamp that you would use most of the time is a 32 to 50 millimeter clamp, although some carburetors or manifolds, like this one for an RM 500, require a 70 to 50 millimeter clamp. Like all good things in motocross, they're kind of pricey. If you find a local retailer that will sell you one clamp, you can expect to pay between $7 and $10 for each clamp. If you do like I do and buy them in a box of 25, it's about $90. So that's the good stuff. That keeps these parts together and keeps the ride going. Good luck, everybody.
Roy Vanderveer, great information there, and I want to thank Roy for sending in that video. He sent in some other ones in the past as well, and they've always been very, very informative. And it's Worth, W-U-R-T-H, Worth clamps. Sounded like works when he got on there. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more Vintage Motocross.
Hi, I'm Tommy Croft, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abbate. We'll be right back with my dear friend Joe.
Vinco, who already has a full line of vintage parts, now has air shocks that are an exact duplicate of the original air shocks so popular in the late 70s. So whether you're looking to build a full racer or museum showpiece, these shocks will give you that incredible 70s look and improve your bike's performance. These new air shocks are fully rebuildable with Vinco rebuild kits, and all shocks are hand assembled in the USA with all new components. Every component is brand new. Just like the originals, our air shocks are adjustable with 2 chambers, high and low pressure, giving you tremendous flexibility for settings of your bike suspension. The Vinco air shocks come fully assembled and ready for installation. Just add air or nitrogen. The kits include the manual and spacers. Visit Vinco.com to check out the air shocks and all that Vinco has to offer to help you get back on track and to keep that ride going.
From Vinco. Vinco's also got cranks ready to go for your Honda CR 125. You want to get a crank completely built, brand new, ready to go, get a hold of Vinco.com. They have over 1,000 products in their catalog. And let's not forget, any orders over $200, you'll get free United States parcel service, priority mail shipping. It's only from Vinco. Keep the ride going. You need some stickers? You can get some Vintage Motocross Q&A stickers. Lovely gal named Susie makes them right here in Antioch, California, 2 for $6. Hardest working couple in the vintage motocross business, Debbie and Scott Burnworth. The 3rd race of the year is coming up. That happens at Glen Helen on October 5th. It'll be here before you know it. The SoCal Vintage MX Classic. Always a lot of prizes, always a lot of good classes, and a bunch of fun going on there from Debbie and Scott Burnworth. It is now time for the What's It Worth segment, brought to you by Full Circle Racing. Thank you, Tom McAllister, for being a supporter of our show for so many years now and supplying me with some really great rims, nipples, spokes, and just all-around great service. That is Tom McAllister. This week's bike was found on Bring a Trailer, and it belongs actually to a guy who does view the show once in a while. He was also a factory mechanic for Suzuki at one time. His name is Lee McCallum. This bike was restored by Lee McCallum. Man has got a lot of talent and a lot of experience when it comes to building some bikes. So I'm going to read through the description of the bike. I'll go through the slides. And this is, of course, the part of the show where you get to guess how much you think this bike recently sold for. And I'm going to give you some neat prizes, compliments of Amsoil. I'll tell you what they are at the end of the show. 1978 Harley-Davidson MX250 was constructed by the seller in 2020, primarily from parts acquired while restoring 2 identical bikes along with a 78 frame. It is powered by a 243cc 2-stroke single paired with a 5-speed transmission and is finished in orange and black and white graphics. I want to point something out while we're here, guys. You see this gas tank when you look at it from the side? See the way the Harley-Davidson in white looks like it's smiling, so to speak? That is 100% correct. If you have an NOS tank or you have somebody telling you it's an NOS tank, look for that somewhat of a, well, you want to call it a flaw, you want to call it a defect. It's not. It's from the factory, and that's the way it goes. Features include an expansion chamber, exhaust system, leather fuel strap tank, a cross brace handlebar, knobby tires, front and side number plates, remote reservoir shocks, and the Delorto carburetor. The MX250 is now offered at no reserve in Florida for off-road use only, with a center stand, manufacturer's literature, and a Harley-Davidson racing jersey, as well as a bill of sale. The bike is finished in orange and black with white accents and features a black vinyl seat cover, 2.2-gallon aluminum fuel tank, a leather fuel tank strap, high-mounted fenders, and black side covers with white number plates, as well as a white front number plate bearing the Harley-Davidson logo. The bike does not have a side stand, and pictured is the center stand, which is included in the sale. And here it is. The bike looks really nice. The gold chain, I don't know, maybe a bit much, but all the hardware is correct as far as the clamps and things like that. The fuel lines, the petcocks, Lee really went the extra mile with this, and there's no surprise because the guy's a factory mechanic, been around the vintage game for a long time. He's got the correct dust covers on the correct Magura levers. How much do you think this bike recently sold for, guys? $5,000? $6,000. This bike sold on Bring a trailer for $15,750. Let's forget the 5% fee because it doesn't really change the price of the bike in the long run. I mean, that's what the seller pays as far as the VIG, to use an old Jersey expression, to bring a trailer. But that's it, $15,750. Who got closest without going over, Susie? Anybody?
Well, Kokoski got it.
Kokoski.
Yeah.
Kokoski is a member of the show. Kokoski cannot play. He's null and void, Jeff Kokoski.
He's no more.
Oh, yeah.
Jeffrey, go home.
Anybody else?
12. The next one closest to that would be 11. 11.5. Yeah.
Okay, guess who's here? The mailman's here, but you can't catch him now.
Oh, shoot.
Open the door. Go bring it to him right now. Susie got to run outside with the mail for the mailman. In the meantime, I see that Terry Good has joined us. So let's get Terry Good here on the show. We're going to be discussing the upcoming event that is for the International Motocross Museum that is coming up on October 19th. And I'll have Terry in here in just a minute. Well, also, here's what I want to do right now. Remember I said something a little bit earlier about the T-shirt and the oil combination thing when it comes to AMSOIL? Well, here it is. Be the first one to type in, I will take the AMSOIL special at $50 and it's yours. Only one available. I'll take the AMSOIL special at $50. Get yourself a T-shirt, get yourself 4 different products from AMSOIL, and it'll all be shipped to you free of charge. You got to let me, though, know what color shirt you want, black, white, or gray. In the meantime, as I had discussed a little bit earlier, he's going to be a little bit surprised because I'm going to just bring him right in here right now. Terry Good, thank you for joining.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, I saw you jump on. I was in the middle of something else, but I wanted to finish up what I was finishing up and then bring you on. And
All right.
Here we are. All right. I'm trying to get it so it's just you and I in the picture, but for some reason I am not getting that. All right, here we go.
There we go.
Now, Terry, you've got an event coming up for the International Motocross Museum. We've seen events over the years for a fundraiser. We've had the likes of Roger DeCoster, Ricky Johnson, Heike Mikla, Garrett Walsink, and Harry Everts, just to name a few. We've had the fundraisers. Things are moving forward. We have a projected opening. Let's not say it's going to happen on that date, but a projected opening for sometime next summer. Right now, you want to show your appreciation for all the people that made a donation to the IMM. Tell me what you got in mind and what's happening exactly.
Okay. Well, we've had a lot of real favorable response, and we've had people from all over the world, reach out and, I just love, love what you're doing. And we are, as you know, Joe, you've been here. We're preserving the entire history of motocross. And it's an enormous project, and it's not, something that you can just do in a building with a couple rows of bikes. We've got dioramas planned and all kinds of things. It'll be like the Smithsonian, really dedicated to motocross. So we've had 2 events or 2 they were supposed to be fundraisers, but I ended up spending too much money on those to, the return wasn't so good.
Right.
But we've had a lot of people that wanted to go to those and maybe they couldn't for scheduling, or maybe the price was a little high or something like that. And they were like, boy, I'd really like to see those bikes. And I agree with them, and not everybody, so we wanted to have one last event,
Right.
where anybody basically could afford to come to it and see the bikes. And so what we've done is we've rented a real nice park, and it's kind of hidden out of the way
Right.
in the town that I live in. And it's got a real nice pavilion in it. The grounds are just beautiful. It's really well manicured and all that. So we're going to have something outside, and we're going to have, I keep saying over 50 bikes. It'll probably be over 60, maybe closer to 70. We're going to have bikes there that we haven't had at any of the other two events. And one of, the last one I bought was Harry Everett's 1974 Trans Am Puch. It's a 387. It's the only one in the world, and that titanium frame 250 Husqvarna. We're going to have DeCoster's bikes there, Bob Hanna's, all these famous bikes, Heikki Mikkola. And
now, from what I understand, Terry, and what we've been talking a little bit about too, and also I've seen you post it on Facebook, you've got Roger DeCoster's RN 1973, is it?
Yeah, RN 73.
And this is the bike that had the famous sand tank on it that was built by, of course, Roger and Lucian Tilkins the night before the GP.
Right.
And this bike, from what I've read and what I've heard you say, we're going to start this bike up.
Yeah, we're going to start it up. I went to his house back in 2000. That's when I bought this bike from him. And
At Roger's house.
Yeah, his house in California. He sold his house in Belgium and put all the stuff he had collected, which is just crazy when you see it. They shipped all that to his house to California, and then it was so much that he had it in storage units out there. And so that's when him and I first started talking about me buying everything. And we started out with that bike. And what's really funny about that is him and I and his neighbor went out to dinner that night. This is a funny story. We went out to dinner that night.
Yeah.
And we come back, and it was pretty late. And his neighbor goes home for a little while. And it's probably 11:30 or getting close to midnight.
Right.
And him and Roger and I are in the garage, and he's got it out, and it had the sand tank on it then. And we're squatting down on the left side of the bike, and he's telling me all about it, this here and this, all the little things, And I know so much about these now from all this. But anyway, the neighbor comes back, and he pokes his head through the garage door, the roll-up door that's now open.
Right.
And he goes, man, that thing looks old. When's the last time it's been run? and Roger looks at me and he goes, 27 years ago. This is in 2000, so go back to 73. And he looks at me and he goes, you want to see if it'll start, if it runs? I was like, are you kidding? Of course. So he goes, listen to this. He goes down to Travis Pastrana was staying at his house that weekend.
Yeah.
And his box van was down at the street. Roger goes down to the box van. He's wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and he puts on a left-handed boot, motocross boot. And he goes down there and he gets a 5-gallon gas can, hands me a funnel, and he says, here, hold this, and he's pouring about a quart of gas into it.
Yeah.
And then he comes around on the right-hand side with his left foot and kicks that thing. After 27 years, it started on the first kick.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. And Okay, so it's been 27 years in mothballs. You'd think he
At
didn't have
least
the,
3 kicks, 4.
yeah, and then you'd think it would be burbling a little bit. That thing jetted so crisp, I couldn't believe it. And it
Wow.
was aiming out the garage door, and the exhaust plume was just, man, the pulse of that thing was unbelievable, and the noise, it was,
The noise, are you talking about this? This is the pipe that was on there with just a
Yeah,
silencer?
that's it.
No silencer and a stinger?
It was so loud. And again, now this is around midnight, and you could see lights in the neighborhood down the street turning on, And so he revs it out for probably maybe 60 seconds, not that long. And then he shuts it off, and the 3 of us just busted out laughing, like little kids. And I thought that was so cool. Here, the 5-time world champion, this is something I would do when I was 16.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're going to get to hear that
Yeah.
bike run once again. Also, some of my other favorite bikes will be there from
That'll be
Hackman
there.
Anderson, and of course the famous OW of Bob Hanna from 1976.
Yep.
And there'll be some modern bikes there. Well, for lack of a better word, modern bikes, but like this Jeremy McGrath bike.
Yes. That's his last championship bike right there. And I got that from Yamaha. So
Okay.
that'll be there. We're also going to start up, Sasaki Osuka's coming here from Tokyo. He's the guy that designed the original Elsinore,
Yes.
the Honda engineer. He'll be here, and he designed that 72 RC125 that we have. That's the only one in the world, and we're going to fire that one up too.
Unbelievable. We'll have the designer of the Elsinore there. The first Elsinore, Roger DeCosta's bike, will be fired up. And over 50 of the world's rarest works bike all in one place for you to see for the last time before the museum opens.
That's
Now,
right.
I have seen a plan for the museum. Terry and I have talked about it many times, and there's been drawings. You'll never get this close to these bikes again. Am I correct, Terry?
That is correct. Yes.
So go over to the International Motocross Museum. You could still make a cash donation. This doesn't mean when you buy a shirt or a hat or a clock. A cash donation. Try and make it something generous, but we're not telling you how much to donate. You will get an email in return giving you the location, exactly where it's going to happen. And it is going to happen on October 19th. And Susie and I will be there from California. Osuka-san will be there from Tokyo. And who knows, I wouldn't be surprised if you had a couple of your other friends from the motocross world there as well, Terry.
That's true. We might have a couple surprises. We're talking to them. We
Right.
will have like a PA system, the same one we used at Pinstripes in the museum section. And Joe, you emceed that, and
Yeah.
we look forward to you. We've got a lot of cool things planned for everybody. It's not a banquet. It's not even a lunch. It's just an event where the bikes will be on display for people to. Anyone can come see. All you got to make is a donation, and if you can't make if it's only a few bucks or something,
Yeah.
we understand. That's fine. We want you to be able to see it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Terry, I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes to join me tonight. And October 19th, I'm counting the days.
Yeah, me too. We're really excited. And Lou Blanchard, Steve Sage, all the old crews coming in for it.
Uh-huh.
And we're all excited. It's just going to be a lot of fun. And we're starting at 10 in the morning. It'll be outdoors. We're going to try. We've got one of those old Suzuki tents that Suzuki used to, with the things that went into the ground.
Yeah, sure.
We've got one of those, and we're going to try and set it up and make kind of a little diorama there for people to see, maybe something that would be on display in the museum once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, we look forward to seeing as many people as possible. We have I sent an email out on September 6th. Some people are saying they didn't get it. I'm going to send another email out in a couple days. If you didn't get that one,
Okay.
PM me on Facebook. I'll personally send you the message through that, just so everyone's on the same page. And we're just going to have a lot of fun that day.
There it is, Terry Good. You're going to have some stars of motocross there, some people coming as far away as Tokyo, and we're going to start up two of the rarest bikes, certainly in the motocross world. Thank you, Terry, for taking the time to talk to us, and I'll be talking to you again real soon, I'm sure.
Thanks. Yeah, tomorrow.
That's tomorrow morning.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. See you guys.
Terry.
All right.
Thank you. Terry Good, the International Motocross Museum. It is happening, and it's happened quick. October 19th. Come out and join me outside of Chicago. Susie and I will be there. It's going to be a beautiful day. 50 or 60 of your favorite works bikes will be on display. Susie, while you had to run out briefly before, I gave the cue for the AMSOIL giveaway, the one where Russell Waters has committed with AMSOIL to give four different lubricants from AMSOIL, and we're going to be giving away a shirt. What I said was, the first person that types in the words, "I'll take the AMSOIL special," gets it. They have committed to $50. So when you see who that person is, let me know who it is, and we'll tell you on the air who committed to the $70 special for just $50. You get a t-shirt, 4 different products from AMSOIL, and we're going to give some stickers. You're going to get some koozies in there. You're going to get more. Charlie Madison?
Yeah.
Charlie Madison, congratulations. You need to PayPal me $50. You will then get your oil from Russell Waters, get a shirt from us. Okay? Thank you, Charlie Madison. We're only doing this once a show. Okay? Once a show. Terry Good jumped in here just a few minutes ago, and you know what? We did the what's it worth. Who got the what's it worth, Tony? I knew Jeff Kokoski he got the right answer, but we can't give it to Jeff because he's kind of part of the show. Right?
Yeah, that was it. Kokoski, he said 15, and then Brian Webley said 12.8.
Okay, we'll get it all figured out. But you know what I want to do right now? I am going to run that Jeff Kokoski segment about Bel-Ray oil. And it's a really interesting story. And we've been talking about AMSOIL and other oils along the way probably the past month or so. And Jeff came up with another really good one for us. And I wanted to get it to everybody as soon as we can. I was going to run it a little bit later in the show, but B and I had spoken so long with Terry Good, I need a little bit of a break. So, Bel-Ray. Now you're going to hear the story of where this all happened from our friend Jeff Kokoski. Tonight's Did You Know segment comes to us, of course, from Jeff Kokoski. In keeping with the theme of our discussions over the last few weeks about oil, tonight we'll be discussing another brand of two-stroke oil that became equally popular during that development period of American motocross, Bel-Ray. Oddly, when most people think of Bel-Ray, they think about some synthetic two-stroke oil, but that isn't really even close to how the company got started. Around the end of World War II, a chemical engineer named Bill Kiefer started the company in his family's suburban New Jersey garage. That's correct, New Jersey, not Southern California. Bel-Ray's first product was a specialty lubricant manufactured for Nabisco for use in their high-temperature bakery ovens. They were also involved in the pharmaceutical industry and other clean industries, including cosmetics. At the time, they developed an extensive line of non-toxic food-grade lubricants. As time and the company had grown together, they continued to research and field-tested Bel-Ray and their product of high-performance lubricants and greases for mining, aerospace, heavy industry, marine, and military applications. By 1970, Bill Kiefer's son, Kurt, was interested in motorcycle racing, and he had been bitten by the motocross bug. As two-strokes had become a racing norm, Bill and his son had the opportunity to develop a synthetic oil that had a high dilution ratio and had exceptional film strength that left no deposits while being run at elevated temperatures inside of high-performance two-stroke engines. Soon, Bel-Ray's MC1 was competing with the likes of Castrol, Klotz, Golden Spectro, as well as many others. But it was after this photo was taken, this photo that you're seeing right here, At the 1975 USGP at Carlsbad, on the cover of Cycle News, following the race, that the popularity of Bel Ray had absolutely exploded. The photo shows Roger DeCoster in a classic MX form, left leg extended with the inside foot peg and hand grip dragon while slamming into a Carlsbad berm. Whether it was staged or accidental, a huge Bel Ray banner tied to the track perimeter snow fence lurks in the background. We could see it here again. It lurks in the background, and that photo became an instant sensation. It really defined motocross at that time. Again, staged or accidental, we really don't know. It also didn't hurt both DeCoster and his teammate Garrett Walsink, who were actually running that MC1 in their work Suzukis. For the power sports industry, Bel Ray would develop gear oil, foam oil, chain lube, fork, and shock oil, as well as many, many other specialty products at that time. It wasn't long before Bel Ray MC1, as well as its other oils and lubricants, became popular with racers around the globe. In late December 2013, privately held Bel Ray was acquired by Calumet Specialty Products, partners that produce high-quality special hydrocarbon products in North America. Calumet, through its subsidiaries like Bel Ray, produces crude oil and other feedstocks into customized lubricants, oils, solvents, waxes used by consumers, industrial, automotive, and power sports products. Today, Bel Ray continues to manufacture all of the products in New Jersey and is sold in more than 100 countries around 6 continents. But of course, the question always is, what about the name Bel Ray? According to the senior management at Calumet's Technical Service Department, the Bel Ray portion of the name represents the initials of 3 people. B is for founder Bill Kiefer, E is for his wife Evelyn, who was instrumental in the early development of the company, and L is for Bill and Evelyn's oldest child, Linda. The Ray portion of the name honors Bill's first partner or right-hand man at that time who helped start the company. But history is lost, as none of us know or could ever find what Ray's last name actually was. And there you have it, the history of Bel Ray. Thank you, Jeff Kokoski. Now we do know. Jeff Kokoski, great job on the Bel Ray segment. We're going to take a little break here. We will be right back with more Vintage Motocross.
I'm Ron Lachine, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be right back.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
There you have it. The International Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Go over there now, make a donation in any amount. Come and spend a great day in the park with me, Terry Good, some other legendary motocross people, and about 50 or 60 works bikes, the last time you'll ever get this close to them before the International Museum swings its doors open in 2025. Hey, Suze.
Yes.
You with me, babe?
Yeah,
What do you got, Ava? Viewer appreciation winner?
I do.
Who is it?
It's Bill Patridge.
Bill Patridge?
Yeah, he's the winner of the grips. Courtesy of Preston Petty Product. Be sure to visit them online at PrestonPettyProducts.com.
There you have it. Bill Partridge, if you get your address to me, I will get it to Paul Stainer, and you will get a beautiful set of grips, compliments of PrestonPettyProducts.com. What do we have next here on the show this week? You know what? I'm going to mix it up a little bit here. Then we're going to go back and do the replica motorcycle part stuff, okay? This Week in Motocross History is brought to you by RacerX.com. They're available online and on your newsstand now. 1975. Even though the race was being held in Czechoslovakia, few thought the home team would win the 75 FIM Motocross des Nations. The Czechs were known to be fast, but only on the 250s, as their state-issued CZ motorcycles were never quite right for 500cc weapons. Plus, they didn't have their best rider, the star-crossed Jaroslav Falta. But on this day in 1975, Antonin Boborovsky had the race of his life, going 1-1 to win the individual overall and leading the Czechs to an upset win. Zdeněk Velký ran third in the first moto, Jiří Čerevý fourth and in the second stanza, and Miroslav Novacek was seventh in the first moto, all in support of Boborovsky. What a great day that was. 1980. There was one last hurrah in the Motocross des Nations for the Belgian glory years. FIM 500cc motocross world champion André Malherbe went 1-1 to win the event. 250cc world champion George Abbate went 2-3. Mako rider Ivan van der Broek went 3-4, and Yamaha rider André Vomans went 7-7 for a dominant win at Farley Castle in Great Britain. The Americans did not attend that year. However, in 1987, well, things were a little bit different. The FIM Motocross des Nations was finally held in the United States for the first time, and the site was Unadilla in upstate New York. Promoter Ward Robinson, long a fan and supporter of the international motocross scene, won the race after years of campaigning via his very successful Trans Am, Inter Am, and US 250cc Grand Prix races. Unfortunately, rain and mud greeted the motocross world, but came with another Team USA win. This one now the seventh in a row for the Americans. Jeff Ward led Team Kawasaki in the 500cc class, Honda's Rick Johnson 250cc class, and Suzuki's Bob Hanna, the 125 class. The Netherlands finished a close second. Belgium was third, and Germany was fourth. And if you remember, those four gentlemen got to meet President Reagan shortly after that. Certainly some wonderful times here in America, a lot of pride in motocross, a lot of pride in our country overall. You know, last week we were talking about Evel Knievel. It was the 50th anniversary of his well, I hate to say failed attempt, but he did certainly make that attempt to go over the Snake River Canyon in a vehicle called a Sky Cycle. He didn't make it, but it went down in history as probably one of the greatest feats, certainly in any kind of daredevil or motorcycle event. Fast forward, 2016, a rather charismatic Hollywood stuntman named Eddie Braun. He dreamed of completing Evel's jump, and he was a fan of Evel's from when he was a little kid. Well, it's unbelievable, but he and the son of the builder of the first Sky Cycle actually built another vehicle. That vehicle was called Evil Spirit, and on September 9th, 2016, Eddie Braun cleared Snake River Canyon. There are videos of it. It's just a wonder to see, and it's a shame it doesn't come up more often, I think, in history. We often hear about the Evel Knievel fateful day that he didn't make it, but this guy, unbelievable. Eddie Braun, in the same type of vehicle, taking off from the same section, same type of ramp, but he did it with great, great success. I just wanted to mention that just one more time. Don't forget, the barbecue fundraiser happens Saturday, September 28th. That's at Crowder's Creek ARP Church. Now, we're going to back it up a little bit here. We are going to, I got to take one more break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to hear about replicamotorcycleparts.com, and we'll wrap it up in just a minute. But we got to take, where are we here? We got to take one more break. and then we'll be back and wrap it up here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. We've got a couple of more announcements to do as well, and we'll be right back. Oh, man, it's kind of hard to juggle all this at times, Suze. You know how it goes?
I do.
All right.
I get asked often, what's the most important thing on Clunker? Answer simple, it's me. That's why I use Full Circle Racing wheels prepped by Tom McAllister. So should you. Watch this and learn why. When racing vintage motocross where suspension is very limited, your wheels can be the difference between winning or serious injury. We chose to run Full Circle Racing wheels because of the super high quality materials and the heavy duty spokes used. Prepped by Tom McAllister, I have the confidence on the track to push way harder through the rough stuff and the bigger jumps, knowing my wheels are going to stay under me. Hey, Clunker may be 50 years old, but his wheels are brand new, and yours should be too. Call Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing today.
Tom McAllister, Full Circle Racing, a longtime sponsor of Vintage Motocross Q&A. One of my other favorite sponsors, ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com. My dear friend Paul Parkinson Sr. Don't forget to get on his website and see all the great things he's got going, not only for Hondas, but for Suzuki's, for Yamahas, for so many different bikes. And the real tough parts that are very difficult to find when you're coming down the home stretch to wrap it up for a restoration. Things like this chain guide that you see here on the lower left of that picture right there is for a Honda CR250. And for you racers, reliability, the main issue. You want to make sure you got a good Kickstarter knuckle on those Honda CR125s and 250s. Paul Parkinson Sr. is making that and so much more. I'll be seeing my dear friend Paul Parkinson Sr. at the Langston Motorsports Bike Show. That is coming up in just a little over a month. Paul Parkinson will be here in California. What else we have going on here? Oh, we got another event coming up. Here it is, the Barber Vintage Festival that happens October 12th and 13th. That's down in Alabama at that amazing facility, the Barber Vintage Festival. We talked a little bit about Evel Knievel a little while ago. And if you want to become a Vintage Motocross Q&A sponsor, why don't you get a hold of me, please? We're reaching over 30,000 people a week and just in incredible numbers across the board as people continue to share the show. And our present sponsors, including Motion Pro, Vinco, Full Circle, they're all seeing great results from the sponsorship that they've offered us here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Just mentioned the Motorsports Bike Show at Langston's just a few minutes ago. That happens on October 26th. In fact, I heard from Grant Langston today. My flight is booked for Susie and I. They'll have a car there for us, and we'll have a great time at Langston Motorsports. I hope you could be there. After some beautiful time in Southern California, and a couple of months after that, January 12th, we will be at York 2025, the Potomac Vintage Riders and the York Swap Meet. The night before, we have the beautiful banquet there at the just outside with the hotel, at the hotel there where the York Swap Meet is held. And then the next day, bright and early in the morning, we've got the Swap Meet all day. I'll have a booth there. I don't know what I'm going to be offering up or giving away this year, but it'll be something good, I can assure you. I think that about wraps it up for tonight's Vintage Motocross Q&A. I don't see anything else on the list. Susie, baby, you got anything else for me?
Shirts, hats.
What do you got? Shirts and hats that you want to sell?
Yeah.
You know what, Suze? Here they are right here. Why don't you tell me a little bit about them?
Yeah. I got trucker hats for $18. I got t-shirts.
Starting at $16.
Yeah, any size, any color.
Mm-hmm.
Got mugs, got koozies, got stickers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Instant message me.
Instant message or get me a message and I will give it to Susie. And don't forget, we've got shirts. They start at just $19.99. Gray, white, or black, any kind of shirt you want. T-shirts, hoodies, long sleeve, even sleeveless, whatever you might want. We got it here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. That wraps it up for this episode of Vintage Motocross Q&A. I want to thank Terry Good for stopping in and explaining to us a little bit more about the upcoming event on October 19th. The boys had a grooming today, and they are taking a rest in my bedroom. Get very rambunctious when they get groomed. They really, really do. They run around the house. I hope you didn't hear them barking before. But anyway, that wraps it up. We're not bringing Gino on tonight. And that's going to be a wrap from Vintage Motocross Q&A. Don't forget, keep sending in questions. Keep sending in bikes. Wait a minute. I don't think we got to the Here's the Problem segment. We didn't. The first question came in from Mike Brianti. I'm sorry, I didn't. You know what happened? Terry Good jumped in, and then I forgot to come back to this segment of the show. Hope you didn't go anywhere. Mike Brianti says, hey, Joe, do you have any recommendations for chrome on my YZ125C? I need the handlebars and fork tubes chromed. Obviously, I realize they are two different types of chrome, as the fork tubes are hard chromed. Well, I can tell you this. You want to use somebody that you know somebody else used and you could see the results. Now, Bill Masho and myself have tried this gentleman right here. His name is Jesse from Astro Plating. They are on Lancashire Boulevard in North Hollywood. He's really good. Now, his information is right here, Mike Berlanti, but when you sent me the question, I sent you this contact sheet so you have it. This is a reliable guy that you can use. Now, if you are not into shipping your stuff to California, what I would recommend is maybe call a local car club, a vintage car club in your area where people are rebuilding and restoring cars. Ask who they use when it comes to chroming and hard chroming. I had a horrible experience with a guy in Hayward, California. Horrible. You don't want to run the risk of doing that. If you're mailing it to somebody, you're making sure you want to mail it to someone that's reliable. And yes, hard chrome is different than decorative chrome. But that's what you want to do, is try and use somebody that you know has had good results with whoever it was. Jeff Kokoski. He says he has. Here's the problem question as well. Did Yamaha use competition yellow for the tank plastic on the 76 YZ125C? Where can I find the color? The color does look like this, Jeff, and this is a bike that I had restored for the late Mike Owen from Legends and Heroes Motocross Tour. So yeah, I do know a little bit about this bike. It was my first new bike when I was a kid. And I sent your question directly to Charlie Moore today. Charlie Moore is going to be doing some more painting for us here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. And Brian Fedigan is stepping back a little bit in the paint world, and I'm sure going to miss him. Anyway, I sent him your question, and I told him I'd like to know the answer for the show tonight. He says competition yellow should be correct. Yamaha code 65000-02-04. Problem is converting it to a modern paint number. Last time I had a mechanic done, they started with a 1980 GM color, which is called competition yellow. When he says when I had a mechanic done, what he means is he took a profit of the color, or they researched how many different colors and blends it took to put this color together to make the competition Yamaha, okay? The code I have written in my notes is WA9805. All the paint store adds to it is a little bit of red oxide. Now, Jeff, I'll be glad to send you that information, but you do have to be careful when you want to get something painted to make it match the plastic. My best experience, it's worked 100% of the time. Go find an auto body supplier near you. Take a fender or a side panel, which is new. Take it down there. They'll take a profit of it. They'll run a little scanner right over it. It's going to tell them exactly what is in that paint to get you the competition yellow. That is the best and most foolproof way of getting the exact color. Yamaha fenders were not painted that year. They weren't painted. They never painted the plastic fenders, only in 74 on the silver for the YZ250 and 360, and I think on the little YZ80 as well. That really does wrap it up for Vintage Motocross, and I got all the segments in. I want to thank Charlie Madison, congratulate him. He is the winner tonight. We had somebody else win the grips.
Bill Patrick.
Yep, so we need his address as well.
Yeah.
And that's it. Other than that, I think it was a pretty good show. Thank you, Terry Good, Susie. Thank you, the viewers at home, for joining us here on Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll see you next week.
Bye.